Welcome into this edition, this space game edition of Night Shift. Of course, I am Kyle Nash, the student of the game, here with Stevie B, Steve Brown of the Black and Gold Banneret, doing the thing. Steve, obviously a tough finish. I did not have Darby Belfort throwing the final pass for the Knights on my bingo card here for Space Game. But hey, it maybe could have worked because Space Game, that's an actual thing. Did not go that way. Let me tell me what you think, man. Just how that last whole exchange went in your mind.
Yeah, I mean, not even the O-line knew that Davy Belfort was going to be taking the last snap of the game, but we don't have to get into that because O-lines don't make those decisions. But I think really what was emphasized among the players and Coach Frost in the press conference was two things, was that this team doesn't give up. They've got a lot of fight, but they also shoot themselves in the foot a lot with these pre-snap penalties and just the offense. They were talking about miscommunications, and I think that's why we saw a lot of punts tonight from the offense, making the defense work extra hard, and that they just weren't really able to play that complementary football that we talked about up in the press box tonight.
Yeah, well, and there's elements of the complementary football that did exist, right? I mean, the points that UCF did put up on the board were defensive and also set up by special teams and defense as well. I mean, let's shout out special teams, right? Noah Reales with his third 50-plus field goal attempt. He had two on the night. One of them set up by a special teams play in and of itself, by the way. Big return by Antoine Jackson, of course, as well. And hey, let's give a little bit of credit. There were a lot of injuries throughout the game. Steve, do me a favor. Step one thing to your left for me. There you go. Perfect. And with that all being said, you know, Miles Montgomery in a sling. Taven Jackson with a hamstring, by the way. Anybody who was wondering why Belfort was in the game, according to Scott Frost after the game, Steve and I just got out of there hearing from Scott Frost that the hamstring was the injury for Taven Jackson. That's why Darby went in the game. And I have to be honest, like this is the hot take. I don't feel like it was the wrong move necessarily. Coach made the point, and we've said it throughout the season, Steve, that they've noticed that UCF on third and longs is going to receive a blitz from whatever defense, and that it's going to work. They've gotten quarterbacks hurt twice on plays like that, and just sending more than the team has puts the quarterback in a position to either escape or make a decision. And Scott Frost said after the game, with that hamstring, they figured that they were going to get blitzed. They put in the kid with the actual working legs in the game, and it was working out until that last ball. And I think that's the unfortunate part, Steve.
Yeah, Scott, Coach Frost talked a lot about how he's not the type of guy to just hand that ball off, take his last time out, kick the field goal, and go to overtime. He really wanted to take that aggressive approach and try and get the win before the overtime or before overtime started. And I don't think we hated the decision. I mean, we were right there on the field, and we saw the receiver streaking across, make that break in towards the end zone. Davy Belfort just read it a little bit too late, in my opinion. If he would have made that progression just a little bit sooner, he could have got it in there and got it in there before the defender was able to undercut it and get to that ball. And that's just kind of, rebounding off of what the team mentioned, just little timing miscommunications or little errors that lead to these kind of big mistakes that can change the outcome of the game.
And I'll give shouts to Eric on this comment. Eric Edwards, he said he messaged me during the game how much the UCF looks like the Denver Broncos in his mind, in that they have excellent defense and a questionable offense. I would say this: I feel like UCF's schedule has been a little tougher than the Broncos this season thus far. At least they played some teams with winning records, but. No, and we got to make that Broncos drop in with RJ Harvey's game a couple games back. I know Thursday night the Broncos didn't get a lot of points, but anyways, I think that element is something. Listen, I hate to be this guy and talk about how right I was, but I'm going to talk about how right I was back in August, saying this was going to be a defense first team. This was going to be a run first team, just like it was in 2016 in Frost's first tenure. And listen, let's give credit to Kenny Martin. defensive tackle coach, recruiting in a stable of guys at defensive tackle, and it goes from there. Malachi Lawrence, Nash Kelly, both missing for Houston's final drive, managed to hold them to a field goal for the offense to take it down to the last game. And listen, I'm not mad at Night Nation if you are mad or disappointed. It came down to the last play again, this close to seeing that Jacksonville State-style ending, and it just didn't happen. What more can be said about that? And I'll even add this comment here from Brian. 4 turnovers, we couldn't win. Not very often you see that. That is, in fact, I haven't checked the stat, but I can guarantee you there's something statistically eye-popping and jaw-dropping about those correlations. It's a great point. And, hey, not to mention a special teams involvement with that. Listen, maybe I'm giving some things away for making the grade later that you can find after this on the blackandgoldbanner.com, where you will see a high grade for special teams. That's all I can say to start with that, Steve. But, yeah, it's that complimentary football piece. But I think we have to get to the elephant in the room. It's not just that they have to face 2 ranked teams on the way out and, hopefully have an opportunity to take on and defeat the now Mike Gundy-less Oklahoma State Cowboys. But now that the injuries are stacking up, right? Miles Montgomery in a sling, Nigel Kelly in a walking boot at the end of the game. I don't know what happened to Malachi Lawrence. I'm pretty sure that's a wrist, just kind of the way he was nursing it. Not sure he'll be back next week.
Right.
On top of that, what was it? Jaden McDaniel comes off the field as well on special teams. Just the injuries are piling up, and now you have these tough opponents. Listen, Steve, your 8-win thing is out the window, first of all.
Completely. Let's just get that out of the way.
Now my 6 wins are officially in jeopardy after tonight's unfortunate thing. A big part of this was me going, hey, it's space game vibes, which we saw thanks to Phil Dellum, right? School history, 3 interceptions. But let's just say the rocket wasn't able to land back on the launch pad.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, the vibes here were definitely good. It's definitely what you want to see as a student. With the way the season has gone so far, not exactly what the student body was hoping to see. But it was really good to see both student sections were packed out with fans all the way up to the top. So it was fun to see the Night Faithful come out and support the team for this space game. I think that's just credit to the university for always just making this an enigma, as Bryson and I like to call it. The space game is its own season.
What was it we were talking about? It felt like a rave with a football game in the middle of it with all.
EDC is not too far away. It looks like it's seeped its way into the space game here tonight.
Well, I mean, listen, as uniforms go for the space game, this wasn't among my favorites. I would put it next to last with the North Carolina Invitation uniform that they did 2 years ago. But yeah, it's still, I felt like at first I was worried about the vibes per se. Granted, I came in late because Friday night games don't work for me. Apparently that's a me problem. But then throughout the game, we felt some bounce. There was a lot of bounce at the bounce house for a team that's only got 4 wins. And I have to credit that. Give credit to UCF for showing out once again for the space game. Unfortunately, 8-1, where they were once undefeated. Failure to launch for the first time at the space game. Steve, any particular parting thoughts? I know I'm going to give Jaden Nixon his props after Bryson Turner was pounding the table on the previous edition of Night Shift.
Yes, he was.
After that game with Baylor, a lot of activity from him. Definitely loved the direct snap play. He definitely loved the direct snap play, something he said that they borrowed from USC. That was fun there too. But go ahead and put a bow on the game yourself there. What was it that stood out to you, good, bad, otherwise, or indifferent?
Yeah. We talked a little bit about it up there. I slipped it in there into the live blog as well. That first half, 24 points in total, but it seemed like the lowest scoring 24 points I've ever seen in my life. Like, credit to the defense and special teams, of course, for putting the offense in a position, and sometimes the defense being the offense itself.
Correct.
For putting those points up on the board. But I don't have the stats right in front of me, but at some point in the live blog, I'm just going UCF punts, Houston punt, UCF exchanges a punt, and then so offense with how many opportunities that the defense gave them, it just seemed like a lot of missed opportunities and self-inflicted wounds, which was heavily emphasized in the press conference. So it seems like that's been emphasized in every press conference that I've been to. So I'm not sure exactly what needs to happen for the Knights to kind of dial in and fix those mistakes. But it is also, a brand new team. This is the first year with Scott Frost being back. We've got a lot of new players. I think it was 70 plus new players this year at the start. And we're seeing a lot of players go down now. So this team is constantly changing with new faces coming in. So we're really going to have to see that next man up mentality that the players talked about in the press conference.
Yeah, they preach it quite profusely. To put a bow on your point, Steve, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 punts from a team that scored 27 points. How's that for a stat? And I mean, listen, with the shooting themselves in the foot, the number of penalties, 9. Not going to work. Not going to work. So, no, yeah, I think you definitely make a great point there. And listen, who knows? Maybe what we'll see for quarterback next week, I think, is up in the air, right? If the quarterback has a hamstring and he's a guy that has to rely on his legs to get openings, maybe Belfour ends up starting next week. Who knows? That whole scenario is now up in the air until we get some more medical news. The defensive ends are in the air until we get some more medical news. It's hard for me to believe Nigel E. Kelly plays next week with a boot on his foot, right? Who knows what Malachi's situation is? And Miles, they're getting thin at running back. Jaden Nixon, probably your guy, at least for next week, if not for the rest of the season, first at running back. I think that's the least painful of the things I described there for the Nauts, such as they were. So, did not go the way that we perhaps would have wanted, but this edition of Not Shift is now complete. Stevie B, tell the world where you can be found, my friend.
Yeah, y'all can go ahead and follow me on Twitter. I posted a little interview clip from Scott Frost explaining his decision to go with Davi, and then also just how they're going to be dealing with the injuries going forward at @StephenB_reports on Twitter, as Kyle and I like to call it, because we like to keep it family friendly on Not Shift.
Yes, we don't want to tell people we're on X, correct? Especially with a rave in a football game, right?
Yes. And then also on Instagram @StephenBrownReports, and you'll catch all of our nightcaps for men's and women's soccer that I've contributed to as well.
Hey, but men's and women's soccer has been great for your contribution. But hey, tomorrow, for those of you watching live, Stevie B is going to be covering men's hoops as well. A big deal there for that as well. And of course, I'll have my edition of Making the Grade, my final one for the season, at least from a home game. Stevie B will be taking over for the Oklahoma State game. Make sure you look out for that in a couple of weeks. But yeah, blackandgoldbanner.com. And of course, the presser interviews will be up on YouTube as well shortly on the Night Shift YouTube channel. So thanks everybody for joining into this edition of Not Shift. An honor, joy, and privilege. And until next year, where it's Not Shift 10, look out for Night Shift next week and throughout the week. So thanks everybody for jumping in. This has been Not Night Shift, whatever it is. So until next time, everyone, go Knights!